It has been a busy week for the Celtics. Jrue Holiday, gone. Kristaps Porzingis, gone. For next year anyway, Jason Tatum, gone. Is Jaylen Brown the next to go? It sounds crazy after you do those two deals to get under the apron here, $4.5 million under the apron with Holiday and Porzingis gone. But yeah, there is still that rumor that Jaylen Brown could go. And after the Porzingis trade, I was telling people in my group chats, I was like, okay, that means no Jaylen Brown trade. All right. But that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case yet, okay? Because the draft is tonight, Wednesday night. These are when these deals get made. And there are teams in the top 10 of the draft that are looking to get a guy like Jaylen Brown. Here's what Brian Windhorst said on ESPN this morning.
The reason that today is the day that this decision is probably going to get made is there are teams in the top 10 who are making offers. Top 10 of the draft tonight. And you'd potentially be able to get replacement players and a draft pick. I don't know if Brad Stevens and his staff is in love with one of these top guys. Maybe they are. But that's what is on the table. I agree with Stephen A. I say at midnight, Jaylen Brown is still a Celtic and Derek White is still a Celtic, and they run it back and they get ready to go in 26, 27. Right. But I don't know for sure that's going to happen.
And when Windhorst doesn't know, that means Brad Stevens is cooking. He's the best ever at this that I've ever seen in the NBA. Of these trades just coming down out of nowhere. Did it with the Holiday trade, both Holiday trades. Did it with Porzingis. Most recently, these things don't get leaked. And we talked about it last month. Like, there are teams that are interested in getting better right away and using some pretty premium draft capital to do that. Okay, Houston was the team we talked about last month. They're obviously out of the sweepstakes. They went and got Kevin Durant. But is there another Texas team that could be interested? Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports on 98.5 The Sports Hub giving a pretty interesting explanation of why there could be another team in that top 5 of the NBA draft that could pull off a Jaylen Brown trade tonight.
I think for the Spurs, Dylan Harper, you probably don't trade for De'Aaron Fox if you know you're going to end up with Dylan Harper. And now they're in a situation where, like, you don't have to be like some crazy expert to see having 3 guards that are average or worse shooters isn't ideal around Victor Wembanyama. And I think the Spurs acknowledge that within. It's just a matter of what path do they take and when do they shake things up in that backcourt between Castle, Fox, and Harper. And if they're going to trade that second pick tonight, it's going to be for some massive return and maybe getting a key player back in that as part of it. And think back to when they traded Kawhi Leonard. They didn't trade Kawhi Leonard for Jaylen Brown, who was younger and inexperienced at that time. They traded him for DeMar DeRozan, a more proven player. And so for the Spurs, I think when you're thinking about number 2 pick trades, I don't think it's going to be for like 5 first-round picks in a trade down. I think it'd be for a proven player like Jaylen Brown.
Now, isn't that interesting? Jaylen Brown to San Antonio. That does make some sense. That's a team in San Antonio that does feel like they're ready to win here. Like, Wemby is, if he's not already, is pretty damn close to being a top 10 player in this league. He is an unbelievable unicorn. He's an incredible draw. They've got veterans there. They've brought in veterans, right? Guys like De'Aaron Fox and Chris Paul, and they've got the young pieces, you know, the Sohans, the Vassell's, the Stephon Castle, NBA Rookie of the Year. Like, they've got a ton of pieces, but they feel like they're ready to win. Not just, let's get Dylan Harper with the number 2 pick and keep building this thing. These guys are ready to win. We're going to find out how ready they are to win. And if Brad Stevens could possibly take advantage of the senility of Greg Popovich. Like, this could be a real viable option. The thing that pops into my mind when it comes to a Jaylen Brown trade, though, is I just saw a pretty good haul for Desmond Bane last week. What was that, 4 first-round picks? And we know Mikal Bridges before last year got 5, yielded 5 first-round picks. The contract situation's a little bit different. I think Desmond Bane's close to a max guy, though, so maybe it's not that much different from Jaylen Brown. But, like, Jaylen Brown is a much better player than both of those guys. You've got a player who is still in his prime at 29 and just won the NBA Finals MVP last year. And has been an all-NBA guy, has been an all-star, is a top 10 player in this league. Jaylen Brown. Top 15. Top 10 seems a little much. Top 15 when he's on. Jaylen Brown is that good. And to Kevin O'Connor's point, like, why would they be so psyched about Dylan Harper or even VJ Edgecombe, the guy who's probably going to be taken next in the draft, or Ace Bailey even, when they've got De'Aaron Fox, when they had Chris Paul in that backcourt? Like, why do they, when they have Stephon Castle? So we keep talking about this Godfather return that you would have to get for Jaylen Brown, an offer they can't refuse. And I think the best team to put up that offer is the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to give you the number 2 pick in the draft tonight. And to Wendy's point, I don't know. There hasn't been huge buzz of like, oh, the Celtics love this guy that's going to be taken number 2 or 3 or 5. They like the 6'6" guard from Illinois with the European name that could shoot. And he's going to be barely a lottery pick. Okay, so I don't know that they love Dylan Harper per se. But you get that. You get a future first, a future first that's quick in the future because San Antonio is going to start to get good. And you get a couple of those big-time players, big-time young guys, maybe someone like a Devin Vassell. Then I think you have to listen there. I think you really have to listen. And what that will do, if nothing else, not only make your team better, but gives you so much flexibility when Jason Tatum comes back. But the next thing you have to weigh is when Jason Tatum comes back, do we want the flexibility of having a young star like Dylan Harper and a bunch of picks that we can move and a ton of cap space, over $100 million in cap space going into next season when Jason Tatum comes back? Do we want that? Or do we want Jason Tatum playing with another top 20 NBA player like Jaylen Brown? That becomes the major question of these trade rumors. Is what we want Jason Tatum to come back to. When he is coming out of this basketball coma and he walks out into the real world of basketball season again in 2026-27, do we want him playing with a bunch of cap space? Or do we want him playing with Jaylen Brown? Again, the thing that's different from some of the other teams we root for here in Boston is the fact that Brad Stevens bats 1,000. So if you do have a ton of cap space, I have full confidence, and you should have full confidence, that Brad Stevens is going to make the most of that. He always has. Danny Ainge, same thing. When they went up to the cap, he made the most of it. Like, if that is to happen, then that means you're going to have like a Giannis in there, okay? Like, that's what we're talking about. So it's fascinating. If it's going to happen, yeah, it probably will happen tonight at the NBA draft. And I just wonder what this return could be for Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics. Again, it's going to take a Godfather kind of offer. It is. Maybe that does become a Giannis trade. Maybe here's the major tinfoil hat conspiracy. Maybe the Celtics do that Spurs deal and they get on the horn with Cooper Flagg and say, pull an Eli Manning. Say you're not going to play there. Tell everyone right now you're not going to play there and we'll pick you at 2. Come home, Roger. You know, that kind of thing. I don't think it'll happen. But hey, why not? Throw it out there. Throw it into existence. What a summer this would be for the guys like me and for the Boston Celtics if they went out and traded Jrue Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jaylen Brown. Could be looking at a complete teardown here for your 2024 NBA World Champion Boston Celtics. A team that looked like, I wouldn't say a sure dynasty, but looked pretty close to one. Like, they looked like they were going to win for years to come. We knew the second apron thing was coming. We got another year out of it. Didn't work out. Injuries and lackluster play in the second round, you know. And then it's gone. And then you could be starting over if you don't have Jaylen Brown. So, man, It could be a very interesting couple of hours, couple of days and weeks here for the Celtics. Personally, I hope they keep Jaylen Brown and Derek White, but we'll see where they go. Let me know what you think. Is it time for the Celtics to trade Jaylen Brown, get the most out of it right now? His trade value will probably never be higher. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the path towards 4,000 subscribers. We need your help. We're here breaking down the Celtics and everything Boston sports live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So check out the other videos on the channel, talking Celtics, talking Boston sports, and tune in here. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week.